Everyone is talking about goals right now. Messi 7. Haaland putting 2 past Brazil. Mbappe chasing the golden boot. The whole World Cup conversation is about who's scoring, which is exactly why almost everybody has missed the most ridiculous stat of the entire tournament. Nobody has scored on Spain. Not one goal. Not in the group stage, not in the knockouts, not from open play, not from a set piece, not from a penalty. 5 matches, 5 different opponents. And here's what makes it a story instead of just a stat. Spain are now chasing something that has never been done in nearly 100 years of World Cups, ever, by anyone. And the twist is that this run started in the exact game the whole world laughed at. The game everyone, including this channel, read as proof that Spain were broken. By the end of this video, you'll know what the record chase is, why we all misread the warning sign, and who I think finally breaks the wall. Let's go. First, look at what this run actually is, because the names make it heavier. Cape Verde couldn't score on. Saudi Arabia couldn't. Uruguay couldn't. Austria got hit for 3 and gave Spain nothing at the other end. And then, last night in Dallas, Portugal threw a farewell party for the greatest goal scorer in international football history, 90,000 people willing one last Ronaldo moment into existence, and the wall didn't blink. Yamal and Bino were peppering the other goal, while Portugal's best effort of the night was a deflection that hit the crossbar. Then Spain's bench won it, 1-0. That's the shape of every Spain result now. The opponent changes, the story doesn't. And a run like this is never one man. This isn't a hot goalkeeper stealing games. It's a system, the press that starts with the forwards, the midfield that suffocates the game before it reaches the back line, an entire team defending one clean sheet at a time. Walls built by one player crack. Walls built by 11 don't. Now the part I have to own, because this channel promised you honesty. 3 weeks ago, Spain drew 0-0 with Cape Verde in their opener. A 67th ranked debutant with a 40-year-old goalkeeper. The odds on that result were 12-1. It knocked Spain off the top of the futures board. The coverage called it a nightmare start, and I made a whole video asking if Spain were already choking. The evidence looked damning. 27 shots over 2 expected goals, nothing scored. Here's what all of us got wrong. We read that game through Spain's attack and called it weakness. Read it through Spain's defense and it was the first brick in the wall. Cape Verde didn't score that day either. Nobody has since. The exact match the world used to write Spain off turns out to be the start of the most dominant defensive run this tournament has ever seen. The attack stuttered for one afternoon. The defense has never stuttered at all. That's the thing about walls. They're boring until you realize nobody has ever gotten through one. And now the history, because this is where it gets big. In almost a century of World Cups, no team has ever won the trophy without conceding a single goal. Not one champion ever. The gold standard is Spain themselves, 2010. The team that won it all while conceding just 2 goals and taking every knockout game 1-0. That side is remembered as the most suffocating champion in history. This Spain team is currently making that team look weak. 3 more clean sheets and Spain wouldn't just win a World Cup. They would do something no nation has done since the tournament was invented. A perfect defensive World Cup. 6 or 7 matches, 0 goals against. That's not a trophy. That's a line in the record books that might never be touched again. And they're 3 games away from it. Which brings us to the test, because the next opponent is the most violent possible contrast, Belgium. The team that just put 4 past the United States in their own World Cup. The team that was dead and buried 2-0 down to Senegal with 5 minutes left and scored in the 85th, the 89th, and then won it in extra time. Belgium's entire tournament has been chaos, comebacks, and goals from everywhere. So this quarterfinal is the purest collision this World Cup can offer. The team that scores no matter what against the team that cannot be scored on. Something has to give, and whichever way it breaks tells us who wins this entire tournament. Now the honest crack in the wall, because there is one. A team that wins 1-0 lives 1 mistake from disaster. There's no cushion. 1 deflection, 1 penalty, 1 set piece, and suddenly Spain need a second goal they've sometimes struggled to score from a team that fired 27 shots at Cape Verde without finding the net once. And if a knockout game stays goalless all the way, it goes to penalties, and Spain's last 2 World Cup exits both came in shootouts. The wall protects them from everything except a coin flip. That is the one door Belgium doesn't have to break down, just reach. So here's my verdict on the record as always. I think the wall holds against Belgium. Chaos needs space, and Spain allow none. Belgium's comebacks came against teams that let the game stretch, and Spain never let a game stretch. 1-0 or 2-0. Spain go through, and the streak walks into the semifinal alive. But I don't think the perfect World Cup happens. Somewhere in the last 2 rounds, France's pace or Argentina's number 10 finds the one moment the system can't erase. Because at some point, the wall meets a player who doesn't need a door. My call. The first goal Spain concede in this entire tournament happens in the final, and the record dies 1 game short of forever. So now you're on the clock. Tell me in the comments exactly who scores the first goal on Spain and in which game. Name the player, name the round. If nobody gets it right, the wall wins the World Cup, and we all watched history while everyone else was counting Golden Boot goals. Because right now, the biggest story of this tournament isn't who's scoring. It's the team nobody can score on. And in 3 games, we find out if perfect is possible.